Well, hello there. It's been a minute. We haven't been together since Donald Trump had his little rally in Pennsylvania, and we've been trying to figure out what's going on with that. So, school started. Now we're getting back to doing these. I'm going to try to do two per week from now on, but thanks for sticking around. So, want to update y'all. I was watching, I didn't know who this guy was. He looked a little bit like Robert Kennedy, but he's got a bit that raspy voice, and I was watching him, and he was debunking TikTokers talking about finance. He says, I'm worth $2 billion, and I'm gonna suss through whether this is good or bad. And he went to one TikToker that basically said that it's okay to lose money on a property as long as you can catch up with it with depreciation. And this elderly man worth $2 billion basically said that's poppycock. You need something that cash flows. You need to be cash flow positive, and this TikToker is just selling you a bill of goods. And I kept listening to the guy because why not? You always want to keep an open mind, and he's worth more than I am, so who am I to argue? But I was listening, and it's Ken McElroy. Heard the name plenty of times through Robert Kiyosaki. I kind of quit listening to Robert just because I kept hearing the same stories over and over, and it really wasn't valuable, if you will. And so Ken McElroy, he's the partner in crime. He's the property manager extraordinaire that helped make Robert Kiyosaki the man he is. So, I've actually played with this idea with my partner. I have a partner myself, and tell you what, I came up with a thought experiment called the gold coin scenario. And by the way, forward this to Ken McElroy because I want to hear his thoughts on it, because here's the way I was thinking about it. So obviously, yes, you want to buy a property that puts money in your pocket. As Robert Kiyosaki says, anything that puts money in your pocket is an asset. Anything that you're paying out is a liability. Fair enough. Absolutely agree. However, what if I come to you and I say, I have this gold coin. It is worth $250,000 today. I'm going to give it to you. All you have to do is come up with $50,000 down. This is at 20%, which is kind of what investment properties cost if you're not getting an FHA loan. So you give me $50,000, I will give you control of $250,000 gold coin. It's right here. It's yours. Now, for 30 years, you're going to have to hold on to this, and you're going to have to pay me, let's say something like $300 a month. You're in the red, $300 a month. So that's $300 per month that you have to pay to have this coin, this gold coin. No. So over a year, that's $3,600 per year. You're going to be paying me for this gold coin. What gets even crazier, over the life of a 30-year note, this is $108,000. And I hope you can see that per 30 year. $108,000. You're going to hold on to this for 30 years. Now, the cash out of your pocket is $50,000 plus $108,000. So quick math, I was public educated, so I'm going to say that's about $158,000. Out of your pocket, this is hypothetically for you, you're paying $158,000 for a $250,000 gold coin. Would you take that deal? I think you would. I think you'd be silly. Now, what gets even crazier, if I say at the end of this 30-year note, this plan here, where you pay me $50,000 and then $300 a month, at the end of it, if you assume a 3.5% appreciation, this is actually, you want to guess how much this is? $700,000 after 30 years. Now, obviously, inflation's going to kick butt, but this is just a hypothetical. If I tell you today that this gold coin, which is worth $250,000 today, is going to be worth $700,000, and you can have it, all you got to do is pay me $50,000 now and $300 a month for the life of the loan. You would take it, absolutely. And we're just using 250 as kind of a round number. It's your principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, or PD, if you will, just an all-around in today's dollars what we're going to do. And so the hard part for Ken and anyone is dealing with this. This is money being taken out of your pocket. Ideally, you want a cash flow. My goodness, if you have plus 300, if you're able to charge more rent than what it costs to cover your monthly nut, you're making money and everyone's happy. But at the end of the day, you're still here. And granted, you're down 108,000, but you're still cash, for the down payment there. If this is a positive, hey, you can grow faster, better, even, quicker. So the goal is to get here to the end point. Now, to Ken's point, you don't want to be spending money here because this assumes that you can't get rent to be where it needs to be, even at a break-even scenario where you're not making any money, you're not putting any money in your wallet, you're not having to pay out, you're not at a break-even scenario. So what happens a lot is that if you can't make the monthly payment, you're having to find this money from working another job or, heaven forbid. But let me pose this to you. If someone has $50,000, that means that they're already living in a bit of a surplus. They shouldn't be financially strapped for $300 a month. Right now, $300 a month is a family of four with, your data plan on your cell phone. So if you can't come up with $300 a month, you really have no business investing $50,000. How did you get this? If it was like, oh, my mom died and she left me some money, maybe you shouldn't be investing per se in real estate. But if you're able to scratch out or find a surplus of $50,000, then you're doing something right, and you're not living paycheck to paycheck like the 78% of Americans right now who are doing that, which is actually very tragic, and I wish we had more financial literacy in this country, because it's not good when your fellow countrymen are struggling. And so helping them out would be good. Anyways, that's a whole tangent. So hypothetically, I like the gold coin scenario because it teaches us that even if you're not making your cash flow on a property, over time, you're still going to get there. Now, like I said before, money out of your pocket, if you're struggling, you should be able to cover it. But if you can't, the reason why a lot of people fail is because they go a few months where they don't have occupancy. Someone moves out, whatever, and then they're like, oh, we have 2 to 3 months where you owe, let's say, $2,000. And who has an extra $2,000 just lying around each month? Probably not. Really no one right now. But so that's when you get into trouble. When you don't have the occupancy to even make up this little bit of deficit, you have major issues. And so, I wouldn't suggest building an empire off of, hey, we're going to be cash flow negative, but it's not the end of the world. And you know what? Like I said, if I go up to a random person in the street and I offer them a gold coin and I say, hey, maybe this isn't 50,000, maybe this is only 3%, that's what, 7,000, 8,000. Give me $8,000 today. If you have an FHA, that's kind of instead of 50,000, you're talking $8,000. If you have $8,000 and maybe $100 or $200 a month, you can still get $700,000 after 30 years. People would take that. So that's a scenario where, yeah, it's not great, but it's decent. Now, here's the crazy thing. If you're taking losses each month, I'm not going to use the depreciation word because, that's fun. You still will get some of that tax benefit. But business losses, isn't that deductible? Can't you put that on your taxes and go against your normal 9 to 5 or however else you're making income? If you're able to claim all this as loss, that's less taxes you're having to deal with. And so it's not all bad. Yeah, you need to be able to come up with cash. You know what? Tell you what, I'll give you this. If you're down $300 a month, you could do a side hustle. How much is that per week? What? $70 a week, $75 a week. For $75 a week of side hustling, you can have $700,000 in 30 years. All you got to do is put in a few extra hours doing Uber or, some little side hustle. We're in a gig economy. For $75 a week, you can have this gold coin. That's actually a pretty good investment. It's not putting money in your pockets like, oh, it's an asset that's giving you payback. But for a few hours extra of work per week, all you got to do is come up with $75 a week. You can have an asset that's worth $250,000, and you can eventually get it to grow to be $700,000. So all I'm saying is that it's not all bad. And, don't start a business with this scenario. I'm not a CPA. I'm not a guru. I'm just saying, if as a thought experiment, this isn't terrible. It's not the end of the world if your rents are underneath your mortgage for a bit. So you can even talk about the time value of money, how the first year is more important than the last. We can get into that later, but like I said, this is actually invest in assets. The other way to look at this is, yeah, you might be down $300 a month, but hypothetically, you have someone else paying $1,700 in. You have a tenant who's paying in this amount. You're paying $300, and you have a silent partner that's paying 6 times that amount. Sorry, math. Yeah, 6 times that amount. And so you're doing all right, okay? And you're giving them value. You're giving them a place to stay. If you're a good landlord and you fix everything and respond to them, and you're good on that, this is a very beneficial relationship for everybody, and it costs you $300 a month. So yeah, it's not a bad scenario. So that's all I got today. The gold coin scenario. Hey, like and subscribe and tag Ken McElroy. Maybe we'll hear from him. And Ken, if you got any great deals, I'm a small time guy, so let's get this ball rolling. All right, thanks guys.